At this point, every single TV show, movie, and game has some form of merchandise, whether really good or really bad. Rick and Morty, after 12 years of existence, has racked up quite a bit of licensed goods. I will personally be rating a bunch of the merchandise to determine if it cuts the chut or if it needs to be thrown to garbage goober.
Trash. Yeah, I love trash. Yum, yum, trash.
Really quickly, I just want to shout out this amazing person for suggesting this idea in my Discord server. Link in the description if you want a cool place to chat about all things Rick and Morty. And with that out of the way, let's take a look at some of the weirdest Rick and Morty merch. Starting off with the assortment of Plumbus themed items, such as this full-scale Plumbus replica, but it doesn't just stop there because for some reason, they decided to bring Plumbuses into the kitchen by making them into either a cookie jar or a little pepper shaker next to a Pickle Rick salt shaker. Not exactly the type of thing you want to ask for at the dinner table. Don't worry though, because they also made a Plumbus mood light you can put next to your bed. Plumbuses are already questionable as it stands in the show, but to have multiple of them in your actual home would cause any non-Rick and Morty fan to bat an eye at you, so unfortunately I have to give these Plumbus themed things 1 star for an overall lack of practicality. Next up is this terrifying Rick and Morty cup, where the body of the cup stays the cartoon style, then out the top is a 3D Rick head with a straw stuck right in the middle. In the photos it doesn't look that bad at all, but man, this was false advertising because this is what you end up getting. I don't think I would ever be able to drink out of something like this with this thing staring at me. And because of that, this cup gets 1.5 stars for at least not being a Plumbus. That cup isn't the only bit of Rick and Morty themed food and drink related products because of course, like every other show before it, Rick and Morty had to make its own food, including chocolate eye holes for anyone who wondered about the delicious but secretive taste of eye holes from the show. Since they are chocolate, they literally melt in your mouth like Rick said.
But it's worth the risk. They melt in your mouth, Morty. They're delicious.
There's also the real life Pickle Rick pickle you can purchase. But there's also that time that Wendy's rebranded as Morty's Wubba Lubba Grub Grub. They introduced 6 new meals for a limited time and also brand new Rick and Morty themed drinks. Portal Time Lemon Lime and Berry Jerry Brie. Rick and Morty has also partnered with Pringles, Krispy Kreme donuts, and various other food brands to deliver a large assortment of snack options. But obviously you can't forget the most important meal of the day, and so Rick and Morty has also turned strawberry Smiggles into a real life food. Just be extra careful who you eat them around. Now Rick and Morty made even more cereal as well, when they collaborated with Funko to make a line of Rick and Morty candy that includes a little Funko Pop. And I think everyone can agree that microplastic is the best tasting cereal, hands down. Unfortunately, I've never tried a single one of these foods before, so I can't go off taste. But by looks, I have to give Rick and Morty themed food a 4.5 because this is awfully creative, and in my opinion, it is up there with the likes of SpongeBob Gummy Krabby Patties. Now, apart from the mini Funko Pops found in the cereal, Rick and Morty has also had a ton of different collectibles at varying levels of quality. As for the rest of the Funko Pops, they are incredibly cool. I own a bunch of them and I 100% have to give them 5 stars. Funko also made more Rick and Morty stuff like their mystery minis, but I think these guys are a little bit weird looking compared to the Pops, and the character selection is very limited, so I think they're only about a 4. The Funko made figures are pretty cool looking, but unfortunately mine at least are not really the best quality, so I do have to give them like a 3.5. But I still do own them all. And finally for Funko is their plushies. And who could forget Highlighter Morty? Yeah, these guys kinda suck. The proportions don't work, they look strange, and for some reason there's 3 different Ricks and 3 different Mortys that all look the same, apart from their face being slightly altered. So what's even the point to completing the collection? 2.5 stars. Now it's worth mentioning Funko has also had one-off smaller lines of collectibles, and I think they actually look even worse, so these are definitely a 2 or even lower. For other companies you got Metal Figs, this looks nothing like Morty, so I have to give it like a 3 unfortunately. The new U2's collection coming soon, which actually doesn't look half bad at all. These are probably the best of the plushies, so about a 4.5. Then we have one of my personal favorites, the McFarlane brand Rick and Morty construction sets. I have pretty much all of them and they were really fun to build and a nice display piece. And there was going to be even more of them, which unfortunately got cancelled, so there's only one wave ever released. Regardless though, I gave these sets another 4.5 for nostalgia and the overall coolness of them. The final notable collectible line for Rick and Morty was from Bear Brick, and their Rick and Morty set is sitting at just under $300, which is truly ridiculous. There's nothing that needs to even be said. These are ugly and not worth the price at all. They are an instant 1 star. Now onto a funner genre, which is Rick and Morty board games. Rick and Morty has had a bunch of games that are just iconic board games with Rick and Morty branding slapped on it, like Clue, Yahtzee, Uno, Monopoly, and Trivial Pursuit. While all these games are fun, they still hinge too much on the original games and they aren't really original by themselves, so I would give them only a 4. But Rick and Morty also has had a bunch of unique original games based off their episodes, and I must say some of these are my favorite games that I own, and they are easy to get into and enjoy with friends and family. I recommend Total Recall. It's fun, it's short, and it's enjoyable for both Rick and Morty fans and people who don't even watch the show. So although I have to play some of these games still, they definitely get a 5. Okay, now everything up to this point has been stuff you just put in your house, but this next thing is physically alive, and you have to actually put elbow grease into taking care of it.
Gross.
It's none other than the Rick and Morty Chia Pets. Now if you don't know what a Chia Pet is, it's a terracotta planter where you lather on some chia seeds mixed with water, and you watch as your seeds blossom on your pet. When I first saw these online, I knew I needed it in my house, so I bought Morty. So I've actually had this Morty Chia Pet for almost a year now, and I'm glad that I finally get an excuse to use it. I don't know how it's gonna look, probably pretty weird, because Morty isn't exactly the right type for a Chia Pet, and also the way they did his hair is pretty weird as well. Alright, Morty has been soaking in water now for 30 minutes, which means I can finally put the chia seeds on it. Alright, I just finished putting on the chia seeds onto Morty, and I have no idea if I put on too much or way too little, but I guess we'll just have to see. So I'll be back in a few days. After about a little bit over a week, this is what Morty looks like right now, and yeah, he's pretty ugly, and a lot of the seeds didn't even end up blooming, which I'm pretty disappointed about. For this video at least, this is what Morty's hair looks like. I don't think it turned out that good. It looks like I put way too little chia seeds, but these ones didn't even bloom, so I don't really know how that would have changed if I did add more chia seeds. I have to give the Morty Chia Pet like a 3.5 because I still did have fun setting it up and watering it. It is pretty cool still, even if it didn't come out as good, but I think that was probably my fault more so than the actual product. While researching for this video, I discovered something that I had no idea existed. Apparently, Rick and Morty has had a large-scale collab with Shein that contains hundreds of products. Now, if you don't know what Shein is, just imagine Temu, but you turned on dark mode. Anyways, Shein's collab is also incredibly cheap, which made me very curious, so I cherry-picked out a small selection of products to test, and just a few days later they arrived at my doorstep. Alright, my Shein order is finally here, and I'm gonna open it up. Alright, this is everything laid out. I'm gonna start with this package. Alright, so first off we have these Rick and Morty loofahs, and honestly they're pretty cool. I don't know if I'll use them because it's obviously pretty uncomfortable with their heads sticking out. Now I'll probably rate these loofahs about a 3.5 because they are pretty good looking, but I don't see much use in them really. Alright, next up I have these straw caps, I think they're called. I don't know, but I got a pretty good variety of them, and they actually are pretty cool, especially the Rick and Morty ones, and I think I'm definitely going to be using these on vacation and just in general. They are really cool. They get probably 5 because how good they look. Next up we have this pretty cool Rick and Morty phone case, and I can't really show you what it looks like on because I'm recording with my phone, but all these stickers here and everything on it looks pretty cool, and I'm definitely going to use this now for my phone case. So this phone case is probably like a 4.5. It's pretty cool. Alright, now we have these leg Rick socks, and honestly these are pretty cool. I do like them a lot, and they're actually really high quality surprisingly, and I think I definitely will be wearing them, not on camera. I have to rate these guys also a 5 because they are extremely good quality. Alright, now I have this Pickle Rick eye mask, and I don't show my face on this channel, but I did try it, and it is really good. So this is actually probably the best thing here yet, and this also gets a 5 because I'll probably use this at night. Alright, now I have these Rick and Morty charger accessories. You add them to your phone charger and basically just make it look really cool. And I don't have a charger right now that will fit them, but I definitely will be using this too. These are pretty cool still, and I do have to give them like a 4. All right, next up is this Rick and Morty little keychain that has a bunch of like computer keys, and this is really satisfying, but honestly, The quality of this is pretty disappointing, and just because it is so satisfying, I will have to give it like a 4 out of 5 stars. And this is actually like the lowest quality item so far, which is actually pretty good because it is still good quality, but compared to the rest of the stuff, it's not really that good of quality. All right, now I have this Pickle Rick hair clip, and I'm a man, and right now I don't have that much hair, and so this product isn't really tailored for me, but I will give it to someone who can actually use it. I unfortunately have to give this like a 3 because I can't really use it that much, and this wasn't really made for me, but I just bought it, and it actually does look cool though, but I don't really see myself using this ever, so that's what I have to give it. Now these last 2 items are actually for my dog, and I'm gonna be taking my dog to the park to try out these things. These are Rick and Morty costumes. We got Pickle Rick and we got Mr. Meeseeks. And I also do have another Rick and Morty product to try with my dog. So let me go to the park with my dog and figure this out. All right, me and my dog have just gone to the park. This is a new day because I wasn't able to film the last couple of days due to the wildfires in Canada blowing down into my region. I'm here with my dog now, and she's gonna try out the first of the items. Now, unfortunately, I tried to get this on my dog, but they made it way too small. Even though I ordered specifically the right size, I even measured her and everything before ordering it. And this thing is way too small, but if you look at the hood, it is pretty cute though. So this specific one probably gets like a 2.5 stars just because it doesn't fit at all. All right, I put on the second one, and this one fits significantly better, and this one is absolutely perfect, and I have to give this one 5 stars. I don't know why my dog is so laser focused to the side, but I think she likes it. What do you think? I think this is a really good Pickle Rick costume, and I think this is definitely the best one. Now this is another item. This isn't from Shein, but this is this is actually officially licensed Rick and Morty plushie for dogs. So she's not really interested in it at all. Let me try throwing it down on the... Hello? Grab the toy. So my dog doesn't seem interested in it at all, which is kind of disappointing because this thing was actually pretty expensive. I'm sure she'll play with it later at some point, but right now in the park, she's too distracted to actually play with it. So this guy is pretty cool, although he does look a little bit cursed. I have to give him probably like a 3.5 just because, well, my dog's not even playing with it right now. Isn't that the whole purpose of it, for my dog to play with it? I originally found all of these Shein products because I was looking at websites like Temu, Shein, and AliExpress for knockoff Rick and Morty merch. But for some reason, instead of finding dirt cheap bootlegs like I expected, they were all more expensive than official merchandise. So scratch that. I'm just going to show you some of the funniest bootlegs I could find. What did they do to Mr. Poopy Butthole? Because what is wrong with his face? I don't remember him ever looking like this. There's also this hideous Rick plush, and again with the colors. Can these bootleggers even try to make these things look good? This one might be 10 times worse. Rick's hair isn't even white, and for some reason Morty's got a bird nest for his hair. I think this one is definitely a great note to end off the video. Thank you guys for watching, and subscribe to my channel. Bye.